Drones, an unmanned aircraft. Big, small, quick, deadly. Just as artillery from World War I or the atom bomb from World War II, drones are probably the most defining weapon of the Russian-Ukrainian war. They perform a range of tasks like bombings, surveillance, reconnaissance, and propaganda. It is the warfare of the now and future, a terrifying weapon to soldiers on both sides, constantly looking above and ever present. There are an n number of them, each diverse in its uses, like the Shahed 131s or the Penguin C Mk2s. However, a drone I believe, which is the true MVP of the entire war, is the infamous Ukrainian vampire drone, dubbed the Baba Yaga. Inspired by agricultural drones, it was developed by a Ukrainian company called Skyfall in June 2022. The drone is a heavy bomber type and can lift about 33 pounds of munitions while flying up to 1,300 feet high. After surveillance by modified Mavic 3s, the Ukrainian army sends out the Baba Yagas, the cover of the night, at over 70 miles per hour. The vampires drop bombs on Russian positions before flying back to their respective drone teams, leaving havoc in their wake. Each vampire drone team is typically made up of 4 soldiers, including the commander, the sapper, the pilot, and an extra set of hands. Additionally, each team is part of a larger brigade who cover about 60 miles of frontline territory daily. The Baba Yagas and bomber drones in general are revolutionary in the current war, effectively replacing traditional artillery.
To briefly explain how this drone is operated. This Ukrainian-made drone, it replaces artillery, of which we have very little, because we have very little munitions and few artillery guns. We all know how inaccurate artillery can be. In order to destroy, say, a 5x5 meter basement, you'd need to fire 6 times. Even with high precision calculation, it's still very hard to hit a target. It's much easier to accomplish this with drones. With a maximum of 2 sorties, we can destroy the basement and the personnel inside. This effectively replaces artillery in some cases.
The Baba Yagas aren't alone, however. There are many other drones who rule the skies of the war. There are the long-range reconnaissance and surveillance drones like the Russian Orions, which fly miles high in the sky gathering intel. There are the deep strike drones hitting targets hundreds of miles away from the front line, like the Ukrainian Lutwis and the Russian Jereberas. And then there are the kamikaze drones. These drones are one-strike drones, killing themselves in order to hit the enemy. Both sides use them extensively, with them being mostly modified consumer drones with the occasional military drone, like the Russian Shaheds or the Ukrainian Rubakas. But a real problem for these drones are that they are stopped by electronic jamming, often rendering them virtually useless. To combat this, the Russians have pioneered the use of fiber optic drones. These drones typically have miles of cable attached to them, allowing them to bypass jamming and hit targets, whether by dropping munitions or kamikazing themselves. Besides for their strike capabilities, drones can serve a multitude of other purposes, like transporting goods, jamming electronic signals, and even serving as motherships for other drones. But these drones serve another purpose, a purpose they get just by existing. The purpose of propaganda. The very nature of these drones has induced fear onto almost every soldier in the war. Multiple interviews and observations have shown that the very sound of drones causes extreme fear and anxiety, with many who experience it daily developing symptoms not too uncommon to shell-shocked soldiers in World War II. Additionally, their use in propaganda is extensive. Take for example the Ukrainian vampire drones. Due to their quick and deadly nature in the field, many Russian troops have nicknamed it the Baba Yaga. The name alludes to an old Slavic folktale of a flying witch who eats children. Drones are no longer just weapons of war. They are symbols for fear, power, and the ever-changing nature of modern warfare. If the Russian-Ukrainian war has ever showed us anything, it has shown that drones are no longer just some support weapon. They are the future of warfare, just like artillery in World War I or the atom bomb in World War II.